The rain lashes against shattered stone as the party's lone paladin kneels beside the rogue that just bled out to save the party. The dice lie forgotten, pizza goes cold, and every player at the table sits in stunned silence. Someone breaks the hush with a panicked whisper. We can still get her to a healer if we hurry. In that instant, your game goes from just being another weekly D&D session and transforms into a story your players will remember for years. And in this video, I'm handing you the keys to building campaigns that punch right through your players' armor of indifference. We're gonna discuss why feelings, not monsters, not plot twists, are what turn a fun night of dice rolling into a lifelong memory. And we'll craft a step-by-step method for infusing every one of your sessions with stakes that matter on a personal level without veering into melodrama. Now, plenty of dungeon masters can juggle encounter design, hand paint stunning miniatures and battle maps, and balance custom magic items, but they still watch their players slowly drift into side conversations or phone scrolling. And the root cause is almost always the same, a flat emotional curve. If you're new here, welcome. This is Kristen's Epic Adventures, and I'm Kristen. On this channel, we go over tabletop role-playing rules breakdowns, tips, tricks, unboxings, and reviews. If that's something you enjoy, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss upcoming videos. Now, when every adventure revolves around faceless villains and abstract save the kingdom stakes, sessions can start to feel like episodic TV reruns. Fun in the moment, but kind of instantly forgettable. Characters level up, the loot piles up, but nothing about the heroes themselves truly changes. And victories can start to seem kind of mechanical instead of meaningful. Even worse, when personal backstories never surface at the table, players tend to disconnect from their own protagonists. They start to become spectators to your plot instead of co-authors to a shared story. The result is often a campaign that looks epic on paper, but fails to leave a lasting impression because nothing really hits the heart. That's the narrative gap that we're closing today. So how do we fix that? First off, I suggest some backstory mining. Start before your first session with what I like to call session 0.5. While session 0 is typically a group session, I recommend this 0.5 is a one-on-one with the DM and just a single player. Talk privately with each player and ask them two simple questions. What would break your character's heart? And what would heal it? Maybe your ranger's answer is, my sister, she's the only family I have left, and I really need to find a safe place for her where she's free from prosecution. Those two sentences are emotional uranium. Throughout the party's early adventures, pepper in subtle reminders of the information they've given you about those two questions in regards to their backstory. These little touches build resonance long before any threat actually surfaces, and they're light touch enough that your ranger still feels the story unfolding organically rather than railroaded. Next, I want you to use some really meaningful stakes. Attach some real consequences to failure, and make them consequences aimed squarely at those personal vulnerabilities. Suppose a cult that's been abducting people sweeps through the region. The ranger fights not merely now for peace and freedom, but for his sister's freedom. And start this out small, maybe with just the rumor that this cult operates nearby. If your players drag their feet a little bit and don't necessarily take the bait, then feel free to escalate it. Maybe an NPC witness saw her taken away in chains. And if they still don't act, then you could drop the hammer. Maybe they intercept a letter describing a sacrificial ritual from this cult. Because the threat is imminent, every missed little cue is gonna sting. And then every heroic success feels like a genuine victory, not just one more tick on a quest log. Adventurers, if you're finding this content helpful, make sure you go ahead and click the like button down below. It helps more adventurers find us. Another tip is to include player-driven choices. You want to keep player agency front and center here. Offer crossroads of moral dilemmas, where the party must choose duty versus desire. Perhaps the king dangles a hefty bounty before the party that they really need, but it means delaying the search for the ranger's sister. If the ranger argues that they want to prioritize their family, then the players start to experience tension without you forcing any outcome. The decision and its ripples now belong to them. Now let's talk about NPC mirrors. What I'm talking about here is that beings understand themselves through other people, and fantasy heroes are no different. Maybe forge an NPC that embodies your paladin's deepest anxiety. Say, an ex-knight who broke their oath and now they live with unmeasurable guilt. As the paladin interacts with this NPC acting as a mirror, she glimpses the path she fears she might walk if she fails her own convictions. Then when that NPC finds redemption, the party's paladin experiences hope. In this way, there's some growth without the DM ever lecturing about character development. If these tips have been helpful so far, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos here on the channel. Now let's talk about the slow burn payoff. Emotional arcs are going to thrive on patience. You want to sprinkle in promises, debts, and secrets early. Then let them marinate a little bit. Maybe the ranger's sister is finally rescued, but now she's magically obligated to serve this cult that had her. The ranger's joy now curdles into horror as he realizes saving her means bargaining with forces he despises. Because that seed was planted so long ago, the table feels this gut punch at full force. Now here's a real-world example, but with some Critical Role spoilers. If you watched their second campaign, you witnessed this principle in action when Mollymock fell in battle. That death rocked not just the players, but an audience of hundreds of thousands. That emotional impact landed because we'd already spent 20 episodes laughing at his one-liners, admiring his flash, and watching hints of his mysterious past trickle out. When the sword dropped, it wasn't just tragedy for tragedy's sake. It was the logical culmination of an arc that viewers had unknowingly already invested in. The takeaway here is create a bond and then pull the pin at the worst possible moment. And commit to the consequence. No last-minute revivify scrolls from the DM's pocket here. Okay, now let's do a little workshop demonstration, if you will, to explain how you could add this into your game. Let's imagine that your wizard answers our session 0.5 questions with I can't lose my spellcasting, it defines who I am, and I crave acknowledgement from my estranged mentor. Perfect. Early on, the party discovers a forbidden tome promising forbidden power, exactly the sort of shortcut that the wizard's mentor would condemn. Mid-campaign, the mentor appears pleading with the wizard to destroy the book, warning that its power will have a huge cost. Cue a moral dilemma. There's a choice to be made here. Cling to the magic that defines who you are, or repair a broken relationship. Whichever path the wizard selects, you already know the emotional buttons to push. Maybe relinquishing the tome actually severs the ability to get to those higher level magical spells for several sessions, leading to some vulnerability-driven growth. Maybe it unlocks power but corrupts the wizard's mind, leaving the mentor heartbroken. Either way, the outcome bursts with meaning here, because it's rooted in that original statement of fear and desire. So here's your blueprint for this. You're going to mine your players' backstories until you strike emotional gold, link quests to personal stakes, and frame some crossroads where choices echo forward, and use NPC mirrors for reflection, but trust the slow burn. Plant early and harvest late. Execute these beats and you'll create table moments that lodge in your player's memory. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment down below and let me know the most gut-punching moment you have lived through or inflicted in a game campaign. Now you're going to want to click a video on the next screen. Go ahead and do that and I'll meet you there. Roll high, stay epic, and I'll see you in the next adventure.